I'm Nina Castellano, 28 years old, and I never thought my family would turn my engagement party into a public execution. Picture this. A private room at our family's flagship restaurant in Boston. White tablecloths, expensive wine, 80 guests waiting to celebrate. My parents own Castellano's, a restaurant empire. I've always been the disappointment, chasing a career in photography they can't stand. That night, I thought I'd just survive another awkward family event. I was wrong. The room buzzed as my father took the microphone, his voice booming about family legacy. Then his eyes locked on mine. "Some people," he said, ice in every word, "are an embarrassment to this family." The crowd went silent. My older sister, Lucia, smirked, leaning back like she'd been waiting for this moment. My stomach dropped, but he wasn't done. He pointed straight at me. "You're the biggest mistake of this family." Gasps rippled through the room. I stood, chair scraping, heart pounding. "Perfect," I shot back, voice steady. "Then don't expect me at your funeral either." I walked out, their stunned faces fading behind me. That moment changed everything. Family or self-respect? If you had to choose, which would you pick? Drop your answer in the comments. Growing up in Boston's North End, I was always the outsider. My parents, Vincent and Maria Castellano, built their restaurant empire from nothing. 3 locations, celebrity clientele, features in food magazines. Everything revolved around the family business. My older sister, Lucia, was their star. By 26, she was executive chef, dad's protege, destined to take over the empire. I was the disappointment who chose cameras over kitchens. Nina's always been artistic, Mom would say, the word dripping with pity. I'd graduated with a photography degree and $35,000 in debt. Lucia had culinary school paid in full, plus a stake in the restaurants. "You need to be practical like your sister," Dad would say. "Lucia understands what builds legacy." I paid rent to live in their basement apartment, helped with their catering events, shot photos for their menus, for free. None of it registered. "Still taking pictures?" Lucia would ask, like I was playing with toys. The comparisons carved me hollow. Lucia was the culinary prodigy, the one who made them proud. I was the kid who chose art over profit. When I landed my first gallery showing, Mom barely glanced at the invitation. "Does it pay well?" When Lucia won a James Beard nomination, they threw a party at the restaurant. The worst were family dinners at Castellano's. Lucia would discuss menu innovations, expansion plans. They'd hang on every word. I'd mention a wedding I'd photographed. Dad would change the subject. My basement apartment became both refuge and prison. Money was constant stress. Student loans wanted $340 monthly. My freelance photography barely covered basics. One month, I asked Dad for $300 to upgrade my camera equipment, essential for booking higher-paying clients. "Budget better," he said. "Lucia never asks for money." "Because you gave Lucia everything," I wanted to scream. But my work mattered. I shot weddings, portraits, editorial work for small magazines. My mentor, photographer James Chen, believed in my vision. "You've got a real eye, Nina," he'd say. When I told my parents a Boston lifestyle magazine wanted to feature my work, Dad said, "That's nice. Did you hear Lucia's opening a 4th location?" I stopped sharing. Then came my engagement party. I'd been dating Marco Santos, a high school teacher, for 3 years. When he proposed, I was nervous to tell my family. He wasn't in the restaurant business, wasn't wealthy, not their idea of success. But I loved him, and he saw me. My parents insisted on hosting the engagement party at their flagship restaurant. "Family tradition," Mom said. I spent weeks anxious, bought thoughtful gifts, a vintage wine for Dad, a designer scarf for Mom, professional cookware for Lucia. The private dining room filled with extended family, Marco's family, friends. Crystal chandeliers, their signature dishes. I handed out gifts. Dad set the wine aside without comment. Mom barely tried on the scarf. Lucia smirked at the cookware. "Cute," she said. Then Dad stood, tapping his glass. "We're here to celebrate Nina's engagement." My heart lifted for a foolish second. "But first, I need to address something." His tone shifted, cold. "Some people," he said, ice in every word, "are an embarrassment to this family." The crowd went silent. My older sister Lucia smirked, leaning back like she'd been waiting for this moment. My stomach dropped. But he wasn't done. He pointed straight at me. "You're the biggest mistake of this family." Gasps rippled through the room. I stood, chair scraping, heart pounding. "Perfect," I shot back, voice steady. "Then don't expect me at your funeral either." I walked out, their stunned faces fading behind me. That moment changed everything. Outside, Boston's night air hit my face. Marco held me while I shook, not with sadness, but rage. "We're done with them," he said quietly. My Aunt Teresa found us minutes later, crying. "I'm so sorry, your father was wrong." She'd always been the only one who supported my photography. She hugged me tightly. "You're brilliant, Nina. Don't forget that." Rebuilding started immediately. I moved out of their basement apartment into Marco's apartment, small but ours. I threw everything into my photography business, Nina Castellano Photography. I booked weddings, portraits, commercial shoots. James Chen referred clients, mentored me through building a portfolio. Within months, I landed a contract with a Boston wedding magazine. Steady work, real money. I signed, hands shaking with excitement. But success drew attacks. Elena Rossi, a rival Boston photographer, started a whisper campaign. Online posts claimed I stole clients, faked my credentials, slept my way to contracts. It was baseless, but it spread. A small client backed out. I was furious, but focused. Mia and I released our best work yet, a wedding series that went viral, featured on major photography blogs. The bridal magazine stood by me. James vouched for my work publicly. Elena's lies faded as my reputation grew. 1 year after walking out, I stood on stage accepting the New England Photographer of the Year award. The spotlight burned, but the trophy felt like vindication. My portfolio had exploded. Marco sat in the front row, beaming. Aunt Teresa cried with pride. Mia cheered from backstage. My acceptance speech was short. "This is for everyone told their passion isn't practical. Keep creating." The crowd roared. Meanwhile, Castellano's was crumbling. Lucia's 4th location was hemorrhaging money. Bad location, worse reviews, staff quitting. The flagship restaurant lost its Michelin star due to quality decline under her management. Dad's name, once gold in Boston's food scene, was now tarnished. Investors pulled out. I heard through industry contacts that they'd lost major corporate contracts. Mom reached out via email. "I'm proud of you. Can we talk?" I stared at the message, deleted it. Dad sent a letter offering me a position as restaurant photographer. I read it once, then shredded it. Lucia never reached out. I didn't expect her to. 6 months later, I did something that mattered more than any award. I organized a charity photography workshop for underprivileged Boston teens, taught them camera basics, helped them tell their stories through images. We displayed their work at a community center. 200 people came, parents crying, kids glowing with pride. Marco helped coordinate, Mia ran the technical side, Aunt Teresa donated supplies. Standing there, watching those kids see themselves as artists, I understood this was what success actually meant. Not my parents' approval, not outdoing Lucia, not even the awards. Building something bigger than myself, giving back, living authentically. Marco and I got married that fall. Small ceremony, just our chosen family. Aunt Teresa officiated, James Chen photographed, Mia was my maid of honor. The Castellanos weren't invited. During our vows, Marco said, "You chose yourself when it mattered most. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen." I realized he was right. To anyone reading this, your worth isn't defined by family who can't see it. Mine couldn't see photography as legitimate, couldn't see my passion as valuable, couldn't see me as anything but their failure. So I built a life where I saw myself clearly. They paid a price, lost their empire's reputation, Lucia's expansion disaster, the daughter they dismissed becoming exactly who she was meant to be. I paid mine too. Years of hurt, a family I had to leave, an engagement party I'll never forget. But I gained everything. Freedom to create on my terms, a partner who sees me, work that matters, a community I helped build. That's the power of choosing yourself. And I'll carry it forward, unburdened, unshakable, undeniably free.